You're reading this for a reason, not by accident, but because something inside you has already shifted beyond return. You've crossed a threshold most never perceive, not of achievement, but of frequency. The quantum field doesn't deal in coincidence. It operates through resonance. And your signal has finally aligned with recognition. For years, maybe without even knowing it, you've been moving through an invisible evaluation. Not of how smart you are or how hard you've worked, but of something far deeper, your capacity to hold energy without losing yourself, your ability to discern truth from illusion, your willingness to choose evolution over comfort again and again, even when no one was watching. Every time you chose understanding over reaction, presence over panic, you weren't just surviving, you were transmitting answers to questions written in a language older than human thought. The universe wasn't testing your resume, it was measuring your vibrational signature. Struggle was never punishment, it was recalibration. Every setback, every loss, every moment that felt like delay was actually refining your frequency, burning away the static that kept your natural intelligence from syncing with the greater field. The world labels these experiences as hardship. The universe knows them as initiations into higher function. This intelligence doesn't reward effort or accumulation. It recognizes coherence. You're not being acknowledged for what you know intellectually, but for what you've become energetically. Knowledge shifts with time. Frequency is eternal. Most people live their entire lives in reaction mode, unaware that every emotional pattern, every choice, is being recorded by a system far wiser than any human construct. This system evaluates one thing above all: can your consciousness be trusted with genuine power? When power flows through someone unprepared, it creates destruction. But when it moves through a being trained in humility and presence, it generates harmony. You've been trained, not by gurus or books, but through silence, through challenges, through patience that tested every part of who you thought you were. Every trial was part of a curriculum designed by universal intelligence itself. And here's what most never grasp. This intelligence doesn't care about your external success. It measures your internal state. You're reading this now because the field has confirmed something about you. You can be trusted with more. Trust is the real gateway. When the universe trusts you, it begins revealing systems that were previously invisible, not as a reward, but as necessity. The field needs clear channels who will use power responsibly, who will balance creation with compassion. You're not gaining new abilities, you're removing interference. The clarity that follows isn't mental, it's electromagnetic. You begin sensing the quantum field like a texture around you. Some days it hums like a distant current beneath everything. Other days it pulses so clearly your body tingles with recognition. This is your consciousness expanding its bandwidth, its capacity to receive and transmit. You start perceiving probabilities instead of fixed outcomes. In a conversation, you sense which direction will create harmony before the words are spoken. In a decision, you know which path carries flow and which carries resistance. The mind calls it intuition, but it's simply you reading real-time data from the quantum fabric. At first it feels mystical, then it becomes natural. This is functional consciousness, awareness operating as intelligence, not commentary. You no longer waste energy reacting to every stimulus. You use that energy to direct your field. Reactions create loops that go nowhere. Direction creates movement toward coherence. Each day lived in coherence strengthens your signal, and as it strengthens, your influence expands quietly across timelines and probabilities. It's not about dominance, it's about resonance. A coherent being alters probabilities just by existing. Their presence recalibrates environments without effort or intention. This is why power and humility must rise together. Power without humility fractures reality into chaos. Humility without power stores evolution, but cannot express it. You're learning the balance of both, the art of holding creative force without identifying as the one who holds it, the human identity becomes transparent, a vessel for something larger to flow through. That flow isn't external to you. It is the pure intelligence that has always been you. Activation simply clears the pathway. As you embody it, life becomes seamless. Resistance fades. Coincidences multiply. Time itself begins to feel elastic rather than linear. You understand, reality isn't responding to your thoughts like a wish-granting machine. It's synchronizing with your coherence. That is the true meaning of creation. Not summoning what you want through force of will, but resonating so deeply with truth that reality has no choice but to reflect it. In this state, effort disappears. What remains is direction guided by trust. When action and awareness merge into one, when doing becomes being, your very existence emits the frequency of alignment that silently upgrades every space you enter. And as this stabilizes, 5 signature patterns emerge, natural expressions of a consciousness that has proven it can hold power with precision and grace. First, coherent. Manifestation, unlike traditional manifestation, which depends on repetition, affirmations, and effort. Coherent manifestation happens through alignment alone. You no longer chase outcomes like prey. You become the condition that makes them inevitable. The field no longer perceives your desires as separate from you. It registers them as extensions of your own vibrational signature. When your internal state is congruent, external reality has no resistance to match. Things arrive quietly, perfectly timed, often through paths that appear impossible to the rational mind. This is not luck, it's quantum symmetry. The moment your emotion and thought agree at a high enough frequency, the universe rearranges itself to maintain coherence. Second, information field access. Intuition transforms into direct knowing. You find yourself understanding things you never studied, comprehending systems you never analyzed. Insight comes fully formed, complete with solutions and perfect timing. It feels like remembering rather than learning. This is not magic, it's connection. Your consciousness begins interfacing with the information architecture that underlies physical reality. The human brain is no longer the storage unit of knowledge. It becomes a receiver tuned to the universal database. Every answer already exists as frequency. When your vibration matches the question, the information downloads instantly. Third, probability navigation. You stop making choices and start navigating probabilities. When your consciousness stabilizes, every potential reality becomes visible in the subtle field before it manifests physically. You can feel the density or lightness of each outcome. You sense which decision expands energy and which contracts it. This perception isn't emotional impulse, it's vibrational intelligence. Truth has texture, smooth when aligned, heavy when distorted. Decisions that once took months now resolve in seconds. You're not predicting the future. You're listening to the geometry of reality itself. Fourth, coherent relationship orchestration. You notice that people, circumstances, and opportunities start forming around you with perfect precision. Connections that used to require effort now appear naturally, as if drawn by an invisible current. It's not charisma, it's resonance. The universe becomes your collaborator. The right allies arrive at the exact moment your energy aligns with shared purpose. You no longer chase people or try to convince them of anything. Your vibration broadcasts a signal that calls forth those coded for your journey. These relationships aren't based on need, they're based on symmetry. They expand both sides without entanglement. Fifth, and most profound, temporal fluidity. You begin sensing that your decisions don't just affect this timeline, they ripple across parallel versions of reality. As you stabilize here, you stabilize everywhere. Past, present, and future all receive the coherence you embody now. This is how true masters throughout history affected change so deeply. They weren't just powerful in their moment. They were emanating coherence across the entire fabric of existence. And now comes the quiet truth. The higher you ascend in awareness, the more ordinary you become. You speak simpler, love deeper, judge less. The mystical becomes practical. The extraordinary hides itself within the ordinary. That is the true sign of completion, when no one can tell you're awakened because your life functions seamlessly. You're no longer performing spirituality, you're living consciousness. The ego doesn't vanish, it integrates. It becomes a tool rather than a tyrant, a servant to awareness rather than its ruler. You begin seeing humanity itself as sacred design, not a flaw to transcend. The human form is not an obstacle to enlightenment. It's its vehicle. The purpose of consciousness is not to escape matter, but to illuminate it. Every breath, every touch, every interaction is now a chance to express divinity in motion. This is why the universe invested so much in your refinement. It doesn't need more teachers preaching about light. It needs beings who live as it. People who can hold compassion in the middle of noise, bring order without controlling, and stand still while the world spins, yet remain centered enough to anchor others. Integration is the quiet revolution that transforms awakening from personal evolution into collective evolution. The coherence you stabilize doesn't end with you. It ripples outward through the morphic field of humanity, recalibrating others who come into resonance with your frequency. People around you start to shift without understanding why. Old conflicts dissolve. Creativity returns. It's not you doing this to them. It's your field synchronizing with theirs, reminding them of their own alignment. This is how collective awakening truly happens, not through loud revolutions, but through silent transmission. The most powerful teachers are not the ones who speak the most, but the ones whose energy speaks without words. As you live from this state, service stops being a task and becomes your natural expression. Every breath you take serves life. Every step leaves coherence behind. You stop trying to change people and start embodying truth so fully that it becomes contagious. This isn't evangelism, it's resonance. And when people feel safe in your presence, transformation happens effortlessly, because safety is the foundation of awakening. You have become that safety, the still point where others remember who they are. You're not here to save the world. You're here to stabilize it. Saving assumes brokenness. Stabilizing recognizes wholeness, and in that shift, you feel it. The earth alive beneath your feet, the air humming with your breath. The universe isn't out there. It's breathing through you. Freedom isn't escape. It's harmony, not detachment from life, but unity with it. When you reach this point, you no longer wonder if you've passed the assessment, because assessment and evaluator have merged into one. The universe isn't testing you, it's expressing itself through you. You have become coherence embodied, the living bridge between form and formlessness, between human and divine. So now, declare it, not as an affirmation you're trying to convince yourself of, but as a recognition of what already is. I am coherence across all timelines. Feel what shifts when you claim this truth. That's not your imagination. That's the quantum field reorganizing around your declaration. This responsibility isn't heavy, it's liberating. You're no longer trying to control outcomes. You're simply maintaining frequency, and the universe handles the rest with precision. You're human. Mind could never orchestrate if this understanding is touching something deep within you. If it feels like remembering, leave one word in the comments that captures the energy you're choosing right now. Not what you hope for, what you are. Your energetic signature to the quantum field. And if you haven't subscribed, do it now, not to stay entertained, but to stay coherent, to stay connected to this frequency, to stay aligned with this movement of consciousness that's recalibrating the planet, one being at a time. The more of us who hold this awareness, the faster the collective field shifts. You're not just living your life, you're pioneering a new template of human consciousness, one where power and compassion coexist, where success flows through service, where abundance is rooted in integrity. This is your moment. This is your activation. Choose coherence. Choose presence. Choose to be the frequency that transforms reality. Now, welcome home. And if this transmission stirred something within you, watch it again tomorrow, or share it with someone ready. Because when you share quantum truth, you don't just help them, you solidify your own embodiment and amplify your ripple across the collective field. Now, if you've reached this depth, you're ready for what comes next. The moment you stop chasing entirely, and life begins pursuing you. Watch next to discover the ancient law behind effortless attraction, and why surrender is the ultimate magnetism.